like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
All right, it's another beautiful day to talk football on Locker Room on Voice of the People Television, and it promises to be exciting. So much to talk about in the exciting world of football. I am Jerry Apeyohai, making a return today with loads of action in the ever exciting world of football. And we've got a thrilling show. Joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Maiwa, who are ready to break down all the action and share their whole takes on what's going down in the football world. Let's get into it, and our advice that you stay tuned and subscribe on our YouTube platform, those who are watching us via YouTube, and turn on that notification bell so you don't get to miss any episode of The Locker Room. And don't forget, you can also be a part of the show for those who are also watching us on LCL TV channel 264. You can call in via the WhatsApp number showing on your screen to join the conversation. Ikechukwu, once again, welcome to Locker Room.
Yeah, good evening, Jerry, and good evening to our viewers. It's so good to be here again. Another very beautiful Wednesday to talk football. I don't know, transfer news is still very much what the world is revolving around, apart from the WAFCON that we'll be expecting the girls to do justice to against Zambia on Friday. So I am looking forward to actually see big signings actually move across major clubs in Europe. Let's get the excitement rolling.
Why is doing everything possible to make sure that Buemo deals comes in, because it looks like that deal has stalled, and I know you've given up already. You're not interested. You just want let the season just start. I'm
not interested.
Vibes or vibes. I even heard that they were going for Martinez. That was a deal that was talked about a few months ago. Now it looks like it might be happening. Sancho, the bid for Sancho is really embarrassing. Yeah, and nobody's even talking about Antonio anymore. And I don't know what you're going to do with a lot of players that Amorim wants to let go. And of course, Ashley Young has already said that Amorim going into next season should not be giving us any excuses. That his excuses are over. This is the time to hit the ground running.
I agree, Jerry. Absolutely. I mean, there should be no excuse. We gave him last season. It was not his team. He didn't, take the guys to preseason. His philosophy was it came pretty late, so he really didn't have enough time to actually build the team. Talk to the guys. At least even if we should understand that we are short of talent, at least we should be able to actually see the full Amorim's philosophy in the players. But we didn't get to see that because of the time he actually arrived. A lot of excuses was made for him, and yes, that's quite understandable for someone who has actually done well in the previous club where he was coming from. Now it's a new beginning. You're actually going to take the guys to preseason. Everything needs to be done from the get-go. At least you managed to even bring in Konya, and of course the cross of the players are still very much intact. So whatever it is that happened this season is very much on him. If he needs certain players out of the team, this is the time to actually make that happen. If he needs certain players to be come into the team, this is the time to make that happen. And if the club is the reason why you cannot actually close deals, then you speak out, let the fans know. And even if it means you actually need to actually step aside or resign at this point, you can actually do that. Because I don't know what the contract says, but for a manager who is actually ambitious or aspiring to actually get to the top, you need all of these things to be put in place because you need a successful season. It shouldn't be all about just coaching Manchester United at this point. It should be about number of amount of success you're able to actually transmit at the end of the season. So now there should be no excuse. We want to see Manchester United get back to where they belong. And if he cannot make that happen, I think the very next flight back to Lisbon will be waiting for him right there at the Theatre of Dreams.
All right, I know that by then Ikechukwu will be at the Gatwick Airport in Manchester to make sure that he's there to say his goodbyes to Ruben Amorim. I don't know, Maiwa, if he's now with us. I know you've been busy with the scouts out there trying to see me. Okay, Maiwa is not in. He should go to Remo. At least Remo Stars have players. They just won the league. They should have enough players to give to Manchester United if they are short on cash. At least with roughly £20,000, or maybe highest they will pay for a Remo player, which should be £100,000 or maybe or so. Yeah, and they'll get their man, and you start hearing, here we go, Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United signs Remo Stars striker and the top goal scorer last season. yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's talk about the Super Falcons. They're built for the game against the Zambian national team, who are nicknamed the Corpus. And the Super Falcons, though, talking about Ashley Plumtree and Rasheedat Ajibade, have been named to the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations Group Stage Best 11. The selection was made by the competition's technical study group. Plumtree impressed with their defensive solidity, and while Ajibade's driving runs and technical finesse linked midfield and attack effectively. And the best 11 team features talented players from various countries, including South Africa's Refilo Jane, Bamba Nani Mbane, Zambia's Rachel Kudenanji, and Barbara Banda, the current African Women Footballer of the Year. She's the current, I don't think. Okay, yeah, she's the current. Okay, Asisha Shola was the one before the last one. And there's also Senegal's Nguyen Ndiaye. South Africa's coach Desiree Ellis was named the best coach of the group stage. The Super Falcons will face Zambia in their next match, and fans are eagerly awaiting the outcome. And of course, a commenter suggested that the team should focus on man-marking Zambia's key players, practicing shooting accuracy, and maintaining defensive solidity. And of course, a lot of areas to look forward to, and hope Magudu will have what it takes. And since Desiree is still in this competition, she's a veteran when it comes to coaching the Bayana. And of course, Morocco also has the man that won the last World Cup for Spain on the ranks. Madugu's coaching credibility is going to be highly tested in this competition.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a game of, technical witness. The manager who is able to actually outwit the other. That's exactly what this tournament is going to come down to as teams progresses across different stages of tournament. But of course, I mean, it's so good to actually have two of our women in this particular group stage first 11. I mean, it shows that yes, we actually did certain things right. And of course, Zambia also has two, in this particular group stage. It shows that they also have done so well. And of course, it's still the same two players we were talking about yesterday, Barbara and Kundinaji, who are, the key figure of that Zambian side. Going into that particular game, I think I would like to talk about what that commentator actually said about, this particular game against Zambia, and how we actually need to, place our focus on, those two Zambian forwards, or those two Zambian key players. I think, yes, I know that Madugu has not really shown that, he's right up there when it comes to female football, when it comes to actually handling teams tactically. But then, I think we have girls, like of Plumtree, that who have played for Leicester City at some point, and of course has shown that she's got quality, to play in the Premier League in England, and the female Women Premier League. And also, we also have Alozie, who is actually also playing in the US. We have players who have actually, played in this competition before. I think we are not short of, experience and exposure in our backline to actually handle, the girls. Now, the big question is, how much of a tactical plan do we have to ensure that while we're actually, putting these girls to check, we're also, finding a way to actually break down the defense of the Zambians to actually get goals. Because it's not about stopping your opponent now. It's all about, a number of goals you can actually score. Football is not about, how much you defend. Football is much about how much goals you score. And if you cannot score more goals against this Zambia, or score more than this Zambian team in that particular game, there's no way we're going to win it. And another thing we will not want to do, is we will not want to actually leave this game till, let it go into a penalty shootouts where it becomes, anybody's luck. We want to actually put this game to bed in 90 minutes. At most, in extra time, we have to actually find the killer and win it. So it's all about how much of a tactical plan Madugu has to actually ensure that we actually rip this Zambian side apart. At least in the first half, we should be comfortable that, okay, we are in the lead. And then I know that over the years, if you watch female football in Africa, you understand that when 1-2 goals has been scored, the team definitely lose their tactical compatibility because they start looking for goals. Especially teams that have fancied themselves to be a good side, or a team that have seen that they have what it takes to actually take the Super Falcons on. So yes, we need to come into this game, ensure that we get the first goal, and of course ensure that those girls don't even get a snippet into our 18 yards.
All right, definitely it's going to be a very keenly contested one for the girls, and definitely the Zambians will not be letting this making it easy for the Super Falcons, because definitely they know that the Super Falcons are the favorites for this competition, because definitely they won it on 9 consecutive occasions. But with that being said, taking a look at the quality of her side, they've talked about they not being able to score goals. But this team scored 3 against Tunisia. What happened in the game against Botswana, Algeria? Did the goals suddenly vanish? And the goal scorers that played the first game also played in the other 2 games. What happened? Is it complacency, or the fact that these other teams they played were very much more defensive, unlike the Tunisians, who took the game to the Super Falcons?
Well, the truth is, the Tunisians are, the whipping boys or whipping girls of that group. They're clearly not, defensive minded. They're actually not a good side technically as well. So it was easy for the Super Falcons to actually, score as much as 3 goals. And of course, if you go back to that game, you realize I would have scored more than 3 goals in that particular game. Our girls were, wasteful also in that game. Now we played against Botswana and Algeria. These are steps ahead of this Tunisian side, and they also have they are also defensively compact. I beg your pardon. And then in that particular game, against Tunisia as well, it's the first game. Sometimes first game in tournament, you don't really get to find your footing, especially when you are a weak side playing against a super house. If Nigeria played against perhaps maybe a Botswana that is defensively sensitive, before playing against Tunisia, it might have been difficult because the Tunisians might have find a way to actually get into the tournament. But then they were not in that tournament at that point, and the Super Falcons took advantage. Even the Super Falcons were not really in that tournament, but yes, I mean the Tunisians were not even they didn't even show up for the party. Now we look at subsequent games. Again, what defines a good player is not how much you impress in your first game. It's how consistent you show that you can actually do what you did in the first game. We did that in the first game. We cannot replicate it. And in every of our games, against Algeria, against Botswana, we had the same problem, which is the fact that we were wasteful. And the difference between those 2 remaining games and the Tunisian game was the fact that in Tunisian game we created so many chances and we were able to score 3. In those games we were limited to few chances, and that is exactly why we were not able to score. So now we're going to be playing against a team that is better than all of the girls all of the teams we played in our group stage. It's going to be way more difficult because these ones now they've also showed that they have this killer instinct. They can actually finish. They have good players in their ranks, and there'll be a threat. Now, if the Super Falcons, go into a game that is going to be very tight at the end of the day, because we might not end up creating many chances. So it boils on to the Super Falcons to ensure that every chance we create, we utilize them. Because of course, it might end up, having just 2-3 chances in the game, and if they just have just 1 chance and they utilize it, that means our guests are coming home. So it's not about whether the girls stops getting the goals. It's all about the fact that the quality is not enough, and the teams we played earlier on isn't as good as the ones that we played later. That's exactly why we have this situation we're having at this point.
All right, I don't know whether Bayo has found his way back with us, and definitely I would love to take his comments on this one. Okay, definitely he's still looking for players for Manchester United. It's quite understandable. But that takes us to talking about Ademola Lookman. Information reaching us is that the Nigerian international and Super Eagles star is in high demand in the transfer market. And according to Fabrizio Romano, Atlético Madrid is working on a deal to sign Lookman from Atlanta, with coach Diego Simeone keen on adding him to his attack. However, Inter Milan is also in the running. With what we've heard, the new coach, Christian Chivu, has already made him his #1 target. And we hear that Inter Milan has already spoken to his representatives, and they've shaking hands towards an agreement. So it's now left for Inter and Atlanta to do all the agreements and sign all the dotted lines, and any time from now, Lookman might or will be playing for Inter Milan going into next season. I think for me, take a look at the options on the table. Inter, Atletico, Napoli. I think Inter will do justice to him, because if he's still doing well, even not at the top par, he can still play in that club side for the next 5 seasons and be guaranteed titles.
Absolutely. I mean, Inter is still very much,
Relevant.
best team in Italy. I mean, barring that Napoli won the league last season, they've shown consistency. They got to the UEFA Champions League final, so they have what it takes to actually make Ademola Lookman better. The truth is that Ademola Lookman at this point, this is a very big step for him, I must say. And I mean, for a player like him, we were having a conversation about Ademola Lookman's move, from Atlanta, and if Napoli is going to be the right choice, considering what happened to Victor Osimhen. Now there's an Atletico Madrid. If the Inter Milan deal fails to actually go through, then of course we'll be looking at him joining Atletico Madrid. I think that's going to be the best option instead of going to Napoli. But now he's going to stay put in Italy. There's no reason for him to even want to acclimatize with the weather. There's no environmental change. Nothing. You just come to Italy, a land where you've actually done a lot. And of course, I think his last game, the season they actually won the Europa League, his game against Inter Milan also, I think that was one of the reasons why they'll definitely be looking at him, because he gave a huge performance against top teams across the Serie A that season. Now he's most likely will be joining there. I just want to see that deal put through, because the very first time, the last time we saw Nigerian international playing for Inter Milan, I think it was Taribo West, who was a key player for Inter Milan at the point. And then after him, we've not really seen any top Nigerian player playing at the highest level for Italian club side, apart from Victor Osimhen that joined Napoli, and then Napoli rose to that height. Now it's a good thing for Victor Osimhen. Also good for the Super Eagles, because we need all this sort of players, players playing at the highest level in top 5 leagues in Europe, and it's going to really help the quality of the team. And of course it's going to bring fear factor when you're actually playing against in a Nigerian team. You definitely know that you have a big player playing in a big Serie A club side, then teams that the opponents who are playing against Super Eagles will definitely respect us. That's exactly what make. Sometimes you just get to win games because of the character of the players you have in your team, and it's really a good one for Ademola Lookman. I just hope that this deal eventually goes through, so that we can have our rest on this and then look out for other Super Eagles players, hoping that they definitely make a big move in this transfer windows. All
right, definitely. I would like to know what Nigerians think about talking about Lookman going to Inter Milan. Do you think it's a good move for the current African Footballer of the Year? Let's not forget that Lookman led Atalanta to Europa League glory in 2024 with a hat-trick, the final, and he's already open to leaving Atlanta, and talks have already begun between Inter Milan and Atalanta on a possible signing, and the fee is quoted to be around 50 million euros, which is expected. But Napoli is also reportedly doing a race for his signature, with Lookman preferring to stay in Italy. And if you ask me, I think I will prefer he goes to Inter Milan. He should stay far away, very far away from anything Napoli right now. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, very far away. Yeah, he shouldn't even think about it. He shouldn't even have a second thought. Inter Milan or nothing else.
For me, if the Inter Milan deal fails to, if the Inter Milan deals fall through, then I will prefer he goes to Spain and play for Atletico Madrid. I think there's a lot of similarity between the way Atletico Madrid plays and the way Italian teams play, right? So he's going to really find his footing there in the Serie A, in the La Liga under the Atletico Madrid led Diego Simeone. So I think these are the best options for him at this point. But for Napoli, I don't think it's a good place at this point, because for 2 reasons. Napoli is actually, yes, they've come back to Europe. Champions League next season and all of that. But I think with the whole atmosphere and the way Victor Osimhen saga has been going, I think the best time for him to actually is to just stay away from that particular club.
Yeah, you not say I know and say he didn't see the signs.
Absolutely.
And the warning is there with the way they've handled talking about the situation of talking about Victor Osimhen, who is his teammate in the Super Eagles. All right, I also want to talk about the Odion Ighalo. They've been talking about him, and reminiscing why he left Watford when he was doing well and went to China. The man has come out to say that the motivating factor was just the money and nothing else. Of course, the handwriting was all over that move. Leaving Watford where he was banging in goals. I think that season he scored up to 20 goals in all competitions.
I think so.
Close to 20 goals if I'm correct in that one. And all of a sudden he picks his bag and says he was going to China. 20 million pounds, I think that was that move. And was going to pour a lot of money.
The thing is, some players actually sit down and reflect on the future. And I think that's one of the things that players like Ademola, Oscar. You remember the Oscar, the Brazilian wonder boy that joined Chelsea, and of course he just moved to China. And many of them, when they come back, the likes of I think Tevez also made a move away from Europe at some point. Many of them, when they come back, their stories are similar. Of course, Ademola might not even be as elaborate in this or detailed in the story as some of these guys. But the truth is, many of them look at the options and they ask themselves, what exactly is it is am I chasing? Am I chasing, the UEFA Champions League? Do I have is there a possibility for me to actually move, to any of the top 5 clubs in top 5 leagues across Europe that's going to guarantee me the Champions League medal? Is there a chance that in the next 2, 3, 4 seasons I'll still be the same person or a better person? I mean, considering my age. Some of them also look at the fact that I have families, I have friends, I have extended families that are actually depending on me. I have to actually make this move now and make this money that I'm still very, very, very young, so that in the next couple of years I can very much come back to Europe. And of course, you remember he went to Asia, came back and ended up also playing for Manchester United before he actually left the Europe finally. So they look at all of these conditions and look at all of the permutations and then say this is the right call. I mean, am I even going to win the African Footballer of the Year? All of these questions they will sit down and they will ask themselves. If they see that the possibility is no, or the chances are quite slim that this possibility is going to happen, then of course they just pack their bag and leave, because it's a good time. I mean, you've done something that has attracted the interest of this big money bags across in the other part of the world. So definitely, why wouldn't you make that move at this point to make that money? Just imagine Ademola decided to stay put in England all the years, and of course that money would have been missed. And I don't think that single move even changed the trajectory of his career, right? So it's still very much the best interest.
Yeah, he still went ahead and came back and played for Manchester United.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't change anything in his career.
He's now playing the Saudi League, and take a look at the beautiful house he built for himself.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So it didn't change anything in his career, right? So, but if it
still went ahead to turn around for the better.
Exactly my point. So because they must have looked at all of this possibility before. He must have looked at all of the possibility with his agent before he actually made this call. And okay, let me go get this money. Perhaps maybe 2-3 seasons I'm going to come back to Europe. This is the age I'll be at that point, and nothing really changed.
And I think the good thing for him is that he still has age on his side, and the fact that even as we speak, he's still playing active football. He's still a dangerous man in the attack, and he can still play top football even at this age. And retiring early with the Super Eagles was quite a shock, though the only Nigerians blamed him. Was it the 20? I can't remember the World Cup we failed to qualify now.
2022.
Yeah, was it 2022? Nigerians also put some blame on him at a point in time. And his wife definitely, though
the issue, yes,
right yeah, she even had to come online and defend him and so on and so forth. And Igalo has been notorious. He's been spending that money on big bums so far. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about him being terrible when it comes to looking for escorts and mosquitoes all around Lagos and Nigeria, as the case is. Of course, a lot of money to spend around, definitely. He will blame the man. He will still want to enjoy life, and of course, causing problems in his marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good news when you get to hear someone who has actually made a lot of persons happy to be having issues or challenges in his marriage.
Even cares. I remember he even trended one time when he was discovered to be following a porn site. Yeah. Yeah, he trended one time.
What?
Yeah, they discovered that he was a major follower of a very popular on Twitter. Yeah, I remember when it was Twitter then. And he trended a lot, and it shows where the man's motivation, and of course where he spends a lot of his money and time. As far as that is concerned.
See, the most important thing for me, right, is not what he does outside the field. What's so important for me is what he does on the field. And Odion Ighalo is, I think, is one of the most cool-headed players we've had, in the Super Eagles. I think a lot of persons speak very highly of him as a person. And again, what I was even talking about was that Odion Ighalo understood early that his chances of getting, because see, Jerry, before players make major move outside Europe, they look at all of the possibilities of getting individual honors, major titles, and all of that. If those possibilities are, say, about 20 to 80%, or about 20% possibility, they'll most likely make that move. Well, they have possibility of about 70% getting, these major honors or club honors or individual honors. They will most likely want to stay. And when they look at all of these factors, that is exactly what's informed their decision to actually say, you know what, I have to make the move. And if you look at all of the players that have made this move outside Europe, you will know that this is actually what the ground. Aside those who are actually doing it for their family, like likes of Ighalo that we talked about.
This was the family. The secret that we reveal is not for the family. Well, it's for you to be able to carry those influencers.
Jerry, what is family?
And have fun. Okay.
What is family?
Family and friends. No, family is immediate. These friends with benefits,
Family.
Yeah.
Family is
okay. Those people who enjoy your time and your money. Yeah.
I mean, if I feel safe around you, you're my family.
Wow. Feel safe around me. Okay.
That's family.
I think we'll have a contest of family, because when I was taught social studies in primary school, there was a definition of family I was given to. I was taught. I don't know the family he's talking about.
Jerry,
anyway, it is what it is. Well, it's great to have you join us. I know you've been looking for transfers. Sorry, Mbeumo looks like it might not happen. I will advise that you should go to Remo and pick some players. They'll be cheap. Ratcliffe will be able to afford that.
I think the Nigerian league has a whole lot of quality players. If they get a better condition, they will do well. In the late 80s, early 90s, Nigerians leave Nigeria and they go abroad to succeed. So, I mean, it's a possibility. But how the mighty has fallen 2025, Manchester United cannot attract average players. It's just so sad that Ineos and the Glazers, they've ended up putting Man United in the state they've been. Over 13 years of mismanagement have resulted to where they are at the moment. And I don't see it changing anytime soon unless something happens next season in terms of the performance. I don't see any top player wanting to pitch their tent with Manchester United at the moment.
All right. We also talked about Ademola Lookman, and we hear that there's already an agreement going on that he might be going to Inter Milan. And what do you think between Inter Milan, Atlético Madrid, and Napoli? Which of the club side would you have preferred him go to? Definitely was said. For me, I believe Inter stands a better opportunity for him. He can even play in that club side till he's even in his 30s. That's if he's still doing moderately well. So Inter Milan encourages players to play even in their 30s. And Ademola Lookman looks like a player who's still going to be very good there. And of course, opportunity to win trophies as well with Inter.
I think African players should be to blacklist Napoli. And not even African players alone. Top quality players should begin to blacklist Napoli. Napoli, they are very terrible when it comes to doing business with them. And we've seen it with about 4 or 5 top quality players that they frustrated out of the club. Our own Victor Osimhen is also there. So Napoli is not a better option. Even if Napoli is offering £1 billion, you should avoid Napoli. Atlético Madrid, yes, Diego Simeone last season, as you know, changed his style a bit. They were scoring, they were much more fluid in front of goal with the addition of Julian Alvarez. This guy that left from Chelsea, I can't remember his name now. The English guy, what's his name again? I can't remember his name now.
Gallagher.
Gallagher, yeah.
Gallagher, yeah. Conor Gallagher, yeah. He's been able to change the way their fluidity in front of goal, and they are more fluid in front of goal. However, Atletico Madrid, they are not, they are not that team that you can guarantee any trophy from. Inter Milan will be a very good option. The reason is this: Inter Milan, if not the fact that they flopped in the last days of the league, they would probably won that particular league, and they've been up there. They've been trying to rebuild the team, and they've been succeeding. Yes, they got to the final of the Champions League. Yes, they were battered in the final. They were second to Napoli, but I think that you can see the progress in Inter Milan, and it's also in Italy. Ademola Lookman, the way he plays, he will be a perfect fit for that particular club. And I think the addition of Ademola Lookman, will also elevate what the competitiveness of Inter Milan. So it will be a good move for him. And also, there's longevity. Ademola Lookman is 27. If he signs a 5-year contract with them, he will be 32. And we know that Inter has the history of signing, older players. And at 32, he will not be scratching his head to think about the next move. So I think it will be a good one for him to go to Inter Milan, but he should never make the mistake or never be tempted by whatever offer Napoli is bringing to get him on their side.
Yeah, the fear of Napoli, they say, is the beginning of wisdom. I understand. Yeah, we also talked about Odion Ighalo and his motivation for joining, from leaving Watford at the time when he was still in his prime to join, what's the name of that club? The club's name is quite very interesting.
Shanghai
Yantai or something like that. Yeah.
Shanghai Santaya, what's that name? Santaya
or something like that. Anyway, we'll leave it for you to do a research on that one. But he said that money was the motivating factor anyway. £20 million, that move cost the Chinese club side, and Watford agreed a good bargain for them. And since then, it looks like it was not a bad move out after all. Take a look at the very expensive mansion erected on the island, Lagos. And of course, the booty calls. Anyway, he was really a notorious guy. When it comes to the influencers, they were all flocking around him. And so, of course, his marriage suffered. Anyway, more money, more problems. But he still had a good football career. He still played active football at the moment as well.
Well, the thing is it's very simple. Ikechukwu said something, I think, about 2 or 3 months ago. Most African players, most African footballers, most of them, they are not actually playing football for the passion. Only very few of them are playing for the passion. Majority of them, they want to play, they are playing football to get out of poverty. And, money will be always centered to whatever they want to do. At the same Ighalo left, and he did a loan season with Manchester United. He got to the Europa League final under Solskjaer, and we couldn't win. If he had stayed in Watford and not run after money, he was putting in a decent performance, and he would have been able to get, a decent club that is way better than Watford in the EPL if he did not, go for the money. However, like they always say, who trophy help is the money that matters. And that is the mentality of majority of African players. However, the thing is, the downside to that is this: majority of them remove a George Weah that won the African best, the world best. Remove even our own JJ Okocha at a particular point in time. The move he made to Bolton, should have made that move. He had the opportunity to go to a bigger club, but he was looking at the money involved in Bolton, and that was why he went. Majority of African players, they are always particular about the money. The big question is this: how long will you chase money, as against what you could achieve? And the mistake majority of them make is this: if you go, rather than chase the money, if you chase the passion, the money will come. If Ighalo had stayed put, he would have gotten a better club than the Chinese club. He would have been in the limelight, and he would have gotten probably more money than he got, in China. But however, it was on the spot. I want the money now. And I think, in as much as we joke about it, I think the players coming up in Africa, they need to begin to shift their mentality, shifting it away from money and shifting it to the passion. If you do the passion correctly, the money will come, rather than, the mentality they have in terms of, I want to get the money now. Let me just grab what I can grab now. And just for that. However, I will not blame majority of them. Some of them are claiming 20, whereas they're already 30. So I will not blame them. They are running after the money anyway.
All right, just took me back to, was it 2016 or 17, when I was still on radio, and I interviewed Ademola Lookman. He came to the studios, and I asked him a question about money or football thing, playing a big club. He said, who football big club helped, that he doesn't care going to China. And he said the reason why, that he feeds a lot of people, that he's the youngest in the family, but a lot of people are relying on him to take them off poverty. And I think at the time he was having issues of being invited to the Super Eagles, was back and forth. And then he said he doesn't care whether they invite him to the national team or not, because the national team doesn't pay his bills. And he doesn't care. I think then he was still playing, was it in Monaco? I can't remember. And I don't know what he's been doing right now anyway. I think even at that time, he came back to Nigeria. He bought 2 duplexes the same day in the prime area in Magodo. And he was also balling. He called the booty calls and so on and so forth. Having fun. Enjoying himself. But it is what it is. We won't blame these guys. If we go to their origin, they came from extreme poverty. And I think I also read the story of, was it, I think I remember, was it Ademola? I can't remember the certain player who played in the 1998 World Cup. He was not supposed to be a part of the team, but injury and so on and so forth. He told the story of how the humble beginning, he was the only lifeline. He was the only hope of the family. And football, he was able to train his sisters to university level, built a big home for his mom from the money he got from appearing at the World Cup and so on and so forth. The rest, they say, is history. So these guys are coming most of the time from extreme poverty, and not like those in Europe who already have a base, a standard. They don't need to hustle to lift their family off poverty. They're already okay. The economy determines where you're coming from, determines how you think. Yeah, so that's the issues when it comes to African footballers. But let's talk about the Ballon d'Or conversation. Definitely, the conversation is already generating a lot of buzz for the 2025 Ballon d'Or, with 5 players considered front runners: Ousmane Dembele, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Mohamed Salah. I don't think, anyway, he only won the Premier League, and Kylian Mbappe. Dembele is the favorite after an impressive season with PSG. Can we now add a Cole Palmer to that conversation just because he won the FIFA Club World Cup? Well, it'll be difficult to stage the likes of Rafinha or even Mohamed Salah, who had an excellent season with Liverpool. And of course, Lamine Yamal, he was fantastic for talking about Barcelona, though they didn't go far. But Dembele looks like the favorite so far, so good.
True, Dembele looks very much like a favorite. But I'm wondering why Hakimi is not there. I mean,
yeah,
there's no reason. Because for me, he's the African Footballer of the Year. If we go by,
Trevor Hakimi,
yes, yeah. Everything is done this season. So this is pretty good. I mean, Mbappe is only there for 2 reasons. One is image, the club is played for, and of course the number of goals he's put in this season. He did so well. He didn't actually start well for Madrid this season. Of course, last season. But of course, before the season got to the middle, Kylian Mbappe picked up, and of course he became a Real Madrid major goal threat. And Lamine Yamal, chief creator of the season. It was beautiful to watch. If they had gone to the final, trust me, would have most likely win this Ballon d'Or. But Ousmane Dembele, from a PSG side without stars, a team that no one expects them to actually do very well this season, aside winning their league, which is more like their bet right at this point. And of course, look at how they actually qualify for Champions League knockout. They managed to actually make the last spot for the Champions League knockout phase, and of course they went on to actually take out Liverpool that seems invisible last season. Took out 3 English clubs on the road to the final, and of course they dispatched the Inter Milan side that seems insurmountable by Barcelona with all of their creativity. 5 goals that ended, and of course they also went ahead to go to the UEFA Club World Cup, and I think the first 3 games he was very much not in because he went there with injury, and then towards the knockout stage he came in, and every time he comes there's a goal against Bayern Munich, a goal against Real Madrid, so everyone expected him to also do the magic in the final, but that wasn't happening. Maresca has other plans, and Kopama stole the show. It was a beautiful season all in all for PSG. They had almost a perfect season, but I think for me this is Dembele's award to lose. And then right up there after Dembele, I would definitely fancy Lamine Yamal, then of course Rafinha. These are my top 3 for the Ballon d'Or 2025.
Mayowa, who are your top 3?
Well, I think the thing is this: Ousmane Dembele definitely the Champions League, puts him there, and the way his performance in the Champions League was also very instrumental in turning the season of PSG around. Remember, PSG struggled in their league, in the league phase. We actually thought they will not make it through, but somehow they made it through and they turned things around. And Ousmane Dembele has put in a whole lot. From somebody who was chased away from Barcelona because of his recent injury, because of loss of form, because of the inconsistency. Look at what he has been able to do for himself in the past 2 years. He has continued to improve, and we can see it. And definitely, the kind of performance he has put in is a Ballon d'Or worthy performance. So, Ousmane Dembele will be number 1. Lamine Yamal at a very young age, he's been very, very instrumental, tearing everything down. They didn't do well in the Champions League. They were knocked out in the Champions League. Lamine Yamal will be a close second for me. The third, I think I will stick to Mohamed Salah. I think Mohamed Salah has been very, very exceptional. Yes, Liverpool only won, the Premier League. But if you look at the performance he put in, if you look at how he has been able to affect the totality of play, remember the pace has slowed down, but the contribution has not slowed down. He has even, reinvented himself. Apart from scoring goals, he's also big on assists. He's also big on joining the play. At 33, I think I'll put him at number 3. Probably a Rafinha will come 4th. Then, an Achraf Hakimi will come 5th for me. So it's going to be Ousmane Dembele, Lamine Yamal, and Mohamed Salah for me, as a number 3.
All right. Had it been, it was an England award, you would have seen Kopama upstage everybody overnight and become up front there. But unfortunately, it's not the English-dominated award. So fairly, it should go to Ousmane Dembele and the rest for me. Ousmane Dembele and whoever makes the mix. Definitely, Achraf Hakimi should be in that mix. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha should be in that mix, and there's also Mohamed Salah in that mix, and not to take away Kylian Mbappe.
I will even take Salah before Mbappe. If you look at the contributions for their club sides, because Salah won the league.
He didn't just had how many goals? Close to 40 goals.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Salah did this. Salah was the top scorer of the league, so they are both top scorers. Mbappe 1-0, so I'll take Salah before Mbappe. Right. I'll take Salah.
What about Harry Kane? He also had a lot of goals.
Yes, these guys can also come in instead of Kylian Mbappe. But it is what it is. It's all about the image of the person. Like I said, Real Madrid. When you play for Real Madrid and you have a fairly good season, it seems a fantastic season. Now, when you have a fantastic season, you are the best player in the world for Real Madrid.
It's actually true. Madrid didn't win anything.
They didn't win anything.
That's really poor.
Sorry, you mentioned something as regards African Footballer of the Year the other time.
Achraf Hakimi, yeah.
Between Achraf Hakimi and Mo Salah, who do you think deserves it the most? Forget the Champions League that they won, in terms of their overall performance.
Okay, so it's very unfair when it comes to defenders, right? Because we would definitely want to be looking at their numbers. Achraf Hakimi in that PSG setup is the most, when it comes to contributing to attack in that PSG team. You can't take it away from him. He's the number 1.
What about the likes of Kvaratskhelia, Doué?
No, I'm talking about their defenders.
Okay,
yes, and their defenders. Okay. Is as effective as many of their attackers going forward. Okay. Right. So if we definitely will not compare his numbers with Mo Salah. There's no way we're going to do that because he's not an attacker. We're not expecting him to score goals.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
But he's a very key player. Top 3, biggest player in that PSG team. Ashraf Hakimi is there. And with what PSG has done this season, right? You cannot have a player who has done all of these things and then you say he's not going to be the best player in Africa. And see, one of the things that is going to give him, or most likely give him this award, is going to come to 2 things. One, it's a French, the African Award of the Year was formerly a French magazine award, right? So it's going to get that sentiment. Many of the voters is going to be coming from the French bloc. So it's going to be, last season he didn't even have this sort of performance. It was close between him and Ademola Lookman. But this season, he won the UEFA Champions League and he won treble. They're still going to play Super Cup against Tottenham. They're most likely going to win it. Yeah. And we're going for the Nations Cup again in December. Of course, I think the award would have been announced before the. But I still think he's going to win it
maybe
because the reason why we are looking at Salah is because of the numbers. As an attacker, we expect him to do that. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary this season in England. He didn't break the record. He didn't break any major record.
He did out of the ordinary because he broke the record of consistent figures and assists.
I'm talking about goals and assists.
For 7 years straight.
See, it just this year.
Being consistent since he came
to Liverpool. Jerry, we are looking at the season. Because you're counting the years before. That's the Liverpool award.
He has maintained consistency. That's what I'm saying.
I know. I'm not going to take anything from him. I'm saying that one season. This is the season we are comparing them. We cannot compare all their careers. He had a better career than Ashraf Hakimi.
At the time, he was still breaking records. Everybody thought it was still.
These are seasons. This season. This is the season we're going to use to judge him.
This is
so which record did he break?
He equaled Alan Shearer's record of scoring double goals and double assists.
That's no record.
Season.
Jerry, that's no record. Records are numbers like you look at. You break the top scorer for the league. No, Jerry, these are secondary records.
I'm saying that he surpassed the record of Alan Shearer scoring double goals and double assists. That's what I'm saying. This last season, we're check it.
Double goals. How many goals did he score this season?
I can't remember. I think 27 or 20.
How many assists did he get?
I think 20.
I think he scored about 20.
I know he's the highest goal scorer.
Yeah.
How many assists?
Yeah, close to 20 assists. Yeah.
Is he up to 20? That's what I'm asking.
Close to 20 assists.
He didn't break the Thierry Henry record.
I know he broke the record for most goals and assists this season. He did it.
Jerry,
I'm very sure, very certain.
Goals and assists record in England is still held by this guy now, Thierry Henry now.
He broke the record this season. Go and check. He broke the record this season. I'm very, very certain about that. It was well celebrated. Yeah, go and check.
But the thing is this, right? Okay. If you look at all of that, you understand that, yes, he had a very good season. If we don't have a player like Ashraf Hakimi, this is why I always talk about defenders, because I know that whenever it is they are coming square up against, an attacker, it's a problem for the defender, because there's no way you're going to look at his numbers and say he did this, he did that. But look at his performance all through. He scored in semi-final Champions League, quarter-final Champions League, and come on. Yeah,
he had 27 goals and 18 assists.
He didn't break the record now.
All right, time really fast. We just have to go. Big thanks to our team. Talking about Maiwa and Ikechukwu. Big thanks to the guys behind the scene. Talking about likes of Victor, Alex, Jeremiah, and of course Hassan. My name is Jerry Apello. I say thanks for being a part of the show. I want to meet again. Stay safe, and if not doing anything at all, do it the sponsor.